Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and it is July 25th, 2024, Thursday night. So I am coming live from my stamping studio. Hopefully you can hear me or see me, or hopefully YouTube and Facebook is what I'm thinking, and on my website too, because I actually posted a link up there. However, if you're on my website, I will not be able to answer your comments or questions because I can't see them until this is all over. I only will get the comments from YouTube and Facebook. So, all right. I will tell you it is a warm one tonight. Hi, Linda. It's a warm one tonight here in Red Lodge. I do have the fan going right like over here on me. I'm not convinced that it's going to help that much. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have done some of the coloring of some of my images beforehand, only because, hey, Sylvie, how are you? Only because I basically colored most of my stuff kind of the same. So I'm going to teach you some techniques to use with your blends and your stamped images. And then, you know, you don't have to watch me color everything because there's a lot of coloring in tonight's cards. So I am using tonight the stamp set called Filled with Cheer. This, of course, we're doing Christmas in July. So this is the last Christmas in July, but probably not the last Christmas that I'll do before the end of the year. Hey, Carol. Hi, Karen. Great. I'm thrilled that people on YouTube can hear me and see me. That's great. Hi, Carlene. Anyway, so I'm using the Filled with Cheer stamp set from the online exclusives, which for those of you who don't know, Stampin' Up! Has stamp sets that are only online and not in any catalog. And so you might want to check there. There's a lot of great things up there. This particular set, Filled with Fun, was one that I did a couple months ago. And I'll probably link these up together just so that you can see them because they're very similar. One's called Filled with Cheer, one's called Filled with Fun. However, the dies for them, it does have a die set. And the dies that are in there coordinate with each set. It's good to see you too, Linda. Or hear or see your comment. So just so you're aware, like this little wagon piece coordinates with the wood piece here. So you can actually use this to color with. And then there is a die that cuts them both out. And same with the banner up here. The banner has a die that cuts it out, and the Christmas lights on this one, it's really hard because it's backwards. The Christmas lights on this one uses the same die. So that's kind of cool. So they coordinate together. They can intermix. All right, so we're going to use Filled with Cheer tonight. Remember, if you have any questions, please post them into the comments section of wherever you are, and I will answer them while we're going along here. If I don't see it, post it again. I do have a great gift tonight so what I do is anybody that comments, likes, or shares my posts or my YouTube or my Facebook, I put your names all in a drawing afterwards, and I just do like how many comments there were, and I pick a random number, and then I count back those comments to see who won the prize. So it does pay to comment. Also, I will be doing my summer fun drawing tonight, and I know a lot of you participated this week in the free shipping that Stampin' Up! Had. Thank you for that. And those that did participate in that ended up getting a packet of Designer Series paper and cards from me as just a surprise gift for Christmas in July. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to flip my camera over, show you the card that I got this week. It's pretty cute. I like the flip-flops. It's from Laura Ryder. She was a customer of mine that has placed an order. So she sent me a check. So that was nice of her to send me a card. So thank you, Laura. Hopefully you see this. I'll let you know that this month's tutorial uses the Lily Pond paper. and stamp sets and dies. And so these are the cards. What I do each month is I do a tutorial. This one has 6 cards in it. And then anybody that places an order with me gets a link and a thank you email for the tutorial. And anybody whose order is over $50 will get a packet of supplies from me in August to complete these projects. So it'll have all the paper, ribbons, and embellishments. You need to supply the bundle or use what you have. This was a good paper for just using the paper because it had so many images that you could actually use. So these are the cards that I did. They're pretty cute. I love this paper, and I love that pink gingham. And I used circle punches. This one's getting a little banged up on my cattails there. And then this one here, which I just used the images of the fish on both the inside and the outside of that card. So that's my tutorial for July. All right. Marie says she has both Fun Filled and Fun with Cheer on order. Oh, good. You're going to like these projects tonight then. So like I said, the Fun Filled dies coordinate with that stamp set. I'm using a whole bunch of blends tonight, as you can see. I have lots of colors. And the reason is because these images just, you know, scream, add more color. So that's what I'm doing. So this is a piece of basic cardstock. It's 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then folded in half. And that's my card base. And so I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to quick show you the card, and then I'll show you how I did it, because I want you to see, I don't know if you can see the embossing on there, but I want you to see the difference of the different embossing that I do. So I just took another piece of basic white cardstock. This one I actually cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I will put these cards up on my website with links to them into the description of this YouTube video, so that people know where they can find the actual images of the cards, close-ups. And I'll put the measurements too, because they're super easy tonight. So now these blocks, what I did tonight is I actually put all the stamps on the blocks because I was stamping. I was trying to figure out this afternoon what I was going to do tonight. I knew what stamps that I wanted to use, but I wasn't sure how I wanted to stamp them. So I just left them on the blocks because I'm using a lot of them. So there's the image stamped with just Memento ink. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you a couple techniques with blends. So I'm going to scoot in. So hopefully you can see better. Make sure I'm in the camera. All right. So for the sled, I'm going to use Poppy Parade, light and dark, and light pecan pie, which people probably think that is a really strange color combination. However, what this does is I'm going to use the pecan just as a shading on this sled. I just want to make this a little bit more antique looking, so I put a little brown into it. And then I'm going to take the dark poppy and I'm going to color right over that pecan with the poppy. And what I end up getting, I'm going to show you up here close. What I end up getting is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the red has a darker tinge to it. So it's, you know, essentially 3 different colors because I've got that pecan underneath there. All right, and then I'm going to take, you might be able to see it better on that bigger piece of the slot. Oops, not that. Wait. Hold up, I got to do this part up here. And then I'm going to take the light poppy and add it in to those edges. And you notice I'm coming in on the end of it. I'm pushing it forward. And then right where the 2 reds meet, I'm just going to do a scribble of that poppy because I want that to blend in. And sometimes it takes a little bit for it to blend, but as the alcohol marker is drying, it blends together. I don't know, can you see that in the, I think you can. But you can see where you get that darker shade of red where I shaded it with the pecan. So just kind of a fun way to add a little bit. I'm going to use Smoky Slate on the sled. Kind of make it look like silver runners. All right, and then I'm going to come in with Granny Apple Green. And on this one, I'm going to go ahead and, what I do personally is I just color around the balls on this tree and then hope that I don't color over them when I'm just coloring it. So then I'm taking the Granny Green Light and I'm just coloring the whole tree. I personally don't want this to be a card that takes me forever to do because I would like to be able to make several of them and not feel like I'm putting hours and hours into each one. I think that this is probably a pretty fast card, which packs a lot of punch. And as I move up to the next card, you'll see basically the same stuff, only I'm adding a little bit different stuff to it each time. All right, so I get the Granny Green Light in there. And then I'm going to come in with the Granny Green Dark. And I'm not coloring the whole thing. I'm just putting in, you know, Stampin' Up! Put some shade lines into their stamps already. I'm just adding green in there. And it doesn't have to be, again, doesn't have to be perfect. Just to give it a shaded look. And then to stay on the simple side, I'm just going to use Daffodil on the star and on the ornaments. And this is actually Daffodil Dark. And you could use any color. All right, for the snowman, I'm going to come in with Pebble Path. And I like Pebble Path as my dark ink on his hat. It's dark and it looks great, but in my opinion, the black blends was just too dark. It was just too dark. I didn't see much shading. So I'm using the Pebble Path, and you see where I put it on the ends and then blend it in with the light. Really simple. Keep it simple. All right, now I'm coming back in to do well, I'm going to do the band on the hat first. And it's pretty small, so I'm just going to stick with Poppy on the edges and Poppy Light in the middle. And then same thing with the scarf, which I probably will come in with some petal, some pecan pie, just because I like it to be a little duller. So you can see where I shaded it. And when you shade it towards the middle like that, it kind of looks rounded. So when you come in with your lighter ink, the highlight is in the middle, so it gives a rounded look to the scarf. All right. It's not bad. However, I do want this to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to go in with just a little bit of pecan. And again, like I said, I can't tell if you guys can tell, but in person, when I I'll take a picture and I'll make sure it's a pretty good picture. And then I'll come in with a little bit more light, bring it all together. So there is your scarf. You can see the different shading that you get. All right, so we're almost done with this card because the next parts are easy. I'm going to come in with a little pumpkin pie and just do his nose. And then for the actual snowman, I'm coming in with light balmy blue and just the petal or the bullet tip. I like to use the bullet tips much more so than the brush tips. And all I'm doing is I'm just going around the image just to give it a little bit of highlight of blue, because of course I want this to look like white snow. So the little bit of highlight of blue just adds a little to it. With these, all those little marks that Stampin' Up! Made, I'm gonna make them blue. All right, so that's all I'm gonna, well, I'm not, I'm gonna do more. So I don't know if you guys ever use the color lifter, but this is a marker that can be used, like if you go out of the lines with your blends, you can push the ink back in. However, I'm gonna use it on this blue, and I'm just gonna go around the edges of it and kind of soften that shadow so it doesn't have a harsh line. I can't tell. I think it's, no, I can't tell if this blend is dry. No, it's working. And that just softens that blue and gives your snowman a little highlight. Let's see if you can see that up close and personal. All right. So I am going to take my Compi and I'm just going to draw right up his arms to give them a little brown. And then I have one last little tip on this one that I did on this one. All right, then I'm going to take my smoky slate and I'm going to use the bullet end, and I'm actually going to draw a smoky slate line all the way around this image. Including down here. And then come down this side. Of course, the dog had to start barking because I'm on camera. All right, so I'm just doing the gray or the smoky slate all the way around that. And then again, I'm going to take that color lifter and I'm going to run that right over that gray. And what that will do is it will kind of move out and make that soften up that line. And you don't really have to do this part, but I liked it better when I tried a couple of them. And what this does is it just gives it a little bit of dimension without having to actually do the dimensional part, just with a marker. And you get the shadow behind your image and it gives it some dimension. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it into this snowflake embossing folder. This is one of the 3D embossing folders. And I'm going to lay this in here. And in a minute here, I'm going to show you what I did earlier today. So I put that inside the embossing machine. I'm going to run through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which is not on my table. It's over here. So let me just get this done and then I'll be back. I don't put it up there because otherwise it shakes the camera and makes people seasick. So I just do my cut and embossing on a different table. All right, so I'm going to pull that out and then you'll see. I hope you can see the dimension on this. Oh, yeah, it's kind of cool. So this one that I did today, I put it in there, but the embossing goes up. It's debossed instead of embossed, and I like it embossed better. But that's kind of fun because it gives you card texture. It's very flat, easy to mail. We're going to go ahead because we know that those blends bleed through the cardstock. We're going to layer this onto white. And I just kept it very flat and very simple, but a very cute card. And it was really fun to color. But I do love, I mean, I don't mind the debossed one. It's fine. But this really makes it pop. It's very nice. I like it. All right. Card number 2 is a little more complicated, but a lot of the same things. So this is card number 2. And as you can see, I added more layers. And also, but the same stamped image, the same exact thing that I did. So I'm just going to move these parts and pieces over here. I'm going to start with the same stamp. You're going to watch me color again. And hopefully, by the second time, you'll have more questions. All right. Again, using Memento Black. Coming in with the light pecan. Give it some shading. And again, this is not necessary for you, but it just really makes your project pop. Then come in with your poppy, dark, and color that out. Right over the top of that pecan. Same thing here. You want to color that red right over the top of that pecan, because that's how you get the shaded look. So it looks like you've actually used 3 reds instead of just 2. Now here you can actually see a big shaded difference. I'm going to color this in just slightly so that they all kind of blend together. All right, and then a little smoky slate on my runners. And the tree. Color that in. Make it quick. Don't get too caught up in making sure that you have every ounce of image colored. You can have white spots. You're going to add in another green. You could actually add in a little pecan if you wanted to and wanted this tree to look a little bit darker. I did that too earlier today. It looked pretty cool. So I got that one colored. Then I'm coming in with the dark Granny Apple Green and just giving it some fur look. And as you can see, there's really no rhyme or reason. Just put some ink on it and don't make it too difficult. All right. Then I'm going to come in and using some of the other blends, I'm going to add colored balls onto this one. I love this color. I had not used much of this Azure Afternoon. That was fun today to use. Well, I don't do a lot with the brush tips because I don't really have a lot of control over them. We're going to make this middle one yellow. All right. Then I'm coming in with my Pebble Path as my black for the hat. Even though it's not black, it gives the appearance of black. It's like a very dark gray, but it looks to me better than the black. The black is almost too black, if there is such a thing, in the color. But you don't see any highlights because it's so dark. Get that carrot done. Yeah, the shading makes a big difference. It really makes those things pop. All right, so I'm going to come in here with the scarf and do a little pecan. There's a pecan there. And then Poppy Red. No, Poppy Parade. And you drag that right through the pecan. So you get two different colors. Lay this down on your scarf. And then bring it together in the middle. I'll color this part here. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got a little bit of red outside the lines. I'm going to see the lifter, and if I just push that back, it sends the ink moving, and moves it back into the scarf. So it doesn't really lift it, it just moves it. So that was a good tip to, that was a good time to show you that. Let's do the band on the hat. The sticks for his arms, legs. It's not easy coloring in this position. All right. So there's that. Let's do a little blue around the snowman. Just that little bit of blue makes him look like he's white. It gives him a little definition, a little shading. You could even do a little blue around his buttons. And then if you want to, you can bring in your blender and blend that out a little bit. So what will happen is I'm just putting some blending fluid, that's what's in here, and then it hits that blue and smears it out a little bit. Doesn't lift it, like it says it's a lifter, but it doesn't really lift it. It just moves the color. But like if you wanted a better highlight, like on this scarf, you could actually do this. And eventually you'll see that this will really start to lighten up, and there'll be a, well, it already is getting a little whiter. So it's a good way to put highlights onto things. All right, once I've done that, now I have to find all my pieces because I think they were sticking to my elbow. All right, so I'm using a pecan base. I probably should come out a little bit so you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. Pecan pie. Yes, Linda, it was a little bit of light pecan to make that, to give that shading. All right, so I have this piece of lavender. All right, Mary Ellen, we'll still be here. I have this piece from the lavender cardstock, which I'm going to use this check because I love it. And I liked how it looked, even though this check, oh, I didn't get it straight. This check is crumb cake. I liked it on the pecan pie. And the reason I used the pecan pie was because that's what I used on my sled, which has, oh, here it is. It fell on the floor. All right, so now I have this piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and attach this on. And then I stamped all these other pieces earlier. So I have a set of wheels, which I have actually colored with pecan pie and the dark poppy. And then in the spoke, I used the smoky slate. So I used all the same colors. And then this is the wooden wagon that comes with this particular set. And I actually colored this with pecan pie, light and dark, to kind of make that shading. And so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and add, oh, you know what? That's great. I'm going to add the wagon on here. Like that. And then I'm going to add the wheels. I just think this is so cute. And if any of you have ever stamped on a candle, which I probably will show closer to Christmas, this would be a really cute image on a candle. So with stamping on a candle, you stamp on it and you how I do it is I stamp on tissue paper and emboss it and then color it on the back. I don't know how the blends would do on tissue paper. I think it's too absorbent, so I think you probably have to just use our regular markers, and then you melt it into the candle. I'll show it. It's cool. All right, so what I did here is I used the same colors. I used the azure, the poppy, and the daffodil, same as in the lights, and just added them on with a dimensional. And then on the inside of this one, I stamped Sending Loads of Cheer, which I colored Sending and Cheer in red because I wanted to see what it looked like. And then I added a light string to the inside of that card. Now what I haven't done on this one is the gray outline, and I really think it needs it because it just gives it that one more dimension of pop. And you don't have to press hard with your marker because you don't really need a big bold line. Then I'll do this side. Some people, when they do this, they only do one side of the image. So like only the left side or only the right side, but I like it on both sides. And I think I did this last week too with the skates, only I used blue. So you can use lots of different colors. I used blue on the snowman, so I wanted the highlight color to be a little bit different. Again, I'm going to come in with this blender and just soften up that line a little bit by going around the outside edge of it. Now I did notice that I did this earlier, and then I felt like the smoky slate on the sled kind of faded away. All right. So what I did is I just came back in with smoky slate. So when you do your blends, if you do one, like this was smoky slate light, I'm doing smoky slate light over the top of it, it makes it a shade darker. So again, another way to use your markers, just using the one color you can put color onto it. So there you go. That's that one. This one has a lot of dimension to it. If you wanted to, Wink Estella would be a good one for this one. Like on the Christmas bulbs and maybe on the snowman, give them a little sparkle. All right, so the last card that I'm doing tonight is a little more, it's not terrible, but it's just it's a little bit step up. So I've actually done a lot of the coloring on this one because it's all basically the same. So on this one, I actually stamped two images. I stamped the presents and I stamped the snowman and the tree, but I'm only going to use the sections that I colored. So let me grab a scissor. I don't fussy cut very often, but here we go. So I'm just going to cut it. And you know, they say, leave your scissor in the same place and move your paper. And I'm just putting a little bit of an edge around my image. Really, this is not hard. Fussy cutting is something we used to do all the time before we had dies. So the presents in this particular set does not have a die. However, the presents in the other Filled with Fun set does have a die. So, you know, you could always use the other. You have two sets of presents now. One has a banner on it. So, all right. I did basically the same thing on these images as I colored the other ones. Just using the different shades. I mean, making it darker on in the inside of the bow and pulling the color out. All right, so then this one, we're going to go ahead and cut out this tree. I like this because it really made the card look, I thought, like totally different without that snowman in there. I like the snowman. I think he's adorable. But it's nice to have options. And again, these images basically were colored exactly the same way I did the last card. That's what I decided this afternoon. Oh goodness, they don't need to watch me color everything 3 times. That would get ridiculous. So if you don't have pecan pie, try something else. You have a gray. That would work too. You'd get shading in the red. Lots of different options. But just pick, blend your markers together and see what you come up with. I just love that little tip of the pecan pie because it totally makes that poppy parade a whole nother shade. All right, so let me move my scraps out of the way. Again, I cut the wagon, I did the wheels, or the lights, and I did the wheels. This time we're putting it on garden green. I'm missing a piece of plaid. Just when I think I have everything figured out. I put that fan in here and things start to blow away. Let me see. I know I cut 2 pieces. Darn it, anyhow. All right. What did I do with it? It never fails. Every time we have something, I lose something. All right, well, I can't find it. So I'm going to tell you how I did it. So on this piece here, I actually cut this plaid piece down 1/4 of an inch. So it's 4 by 5 1/4. I then cut a hole in it using Stylish Shapes, which is absolutely one of my absolute favorite stamp sets. So I used this Stylish Shape. I could have used one of these banners too for this, but I didn't think about that. I'm going to show you how I got those ends even. So anyway, you layer that on top of there, and then these pieces, I just, oh, well, we can cut off the belly. We don't need all this from the snowman, so cut this off so it doesn't show through here. Okay. I took some dimensionals. And I put 2 on the tree and 1 here. And the 2 that are on the tree, I'm going to pull off. And then I just line these up so that it covered up that present from the foliage that was behind it. And then I added this by putting a dimensional here and some adhesive on this side. And I'm just going to add this on there. Oh, you should take the back off the dimensional if you want it to stick. So that's how I got my wagon. Pretty simple. And then, of course, I attached the wheels the same way I did on my other with dimensionals. I know that the minute that I shut off the recording, that piece of plaid is going to show up. And it's going to be like right smack in my face. It was just here. I know I cut 2 today and put 1 aside. So anyway, so these wheels are going to go on like that. And then I did the inside too. So how I did this, take a scrap of cardstock. Let me cut a piece here. I just cut this one 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and then I'm going to use this stamp. I'm going to stamp it down. where I want it. And then I'm going to cut off the edge. And then I'm going to take this piece and lay it over here on this side where I want that to be cut the same angle. And just line it up and then cut with my scissor. And that way, both your angles, oh, my stamping is a little crooked, but your angles are at the same angle. Your angles are at the same angle. Anyway, that makes sense. All right. So on this one, I actually used the stylus shapes. I cut out that hole, which left me with this piece, which I'm going to save because I do love plaid. And then I added a piece of basic white behind it. So this was 4 by 5 1/4. I just put like a 4 by, no, like a 3 3/4 by 5 piece behind it. Glued the plaid onto it, which left me the hole then to put the stamped image in. I added this with dimensionals and added my lights, and then added some lights to the inside because I had some extras laying around. So I will finish that card once I find that piece of paper, which I can't even imagine where it went. But like I said, as soon as I shut the camera off, it's going to pop up. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Now would be the time to ask. I'm going to run through here. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Sue. Hi, Nona. Shading really gives the tree a pop. Yep. Okay, so let me pull my cards out. I'm really sad about that. Look at this mess. I make such a mess when I stamp. I really do. All right. Which one's your favorite? I love them all, personally. Oh, you can't see them. Here, let me go back to the... All right, so those are the 3 cards for tonight. I did not add Win Costello, but they all are screaming for it. You could put embellishments, like the inside of the wheels could use an embellishment if you wanted to. You could actually add some embellishments up and around, and I might do that. You never know. My plan is to get these posted tonight with measurements. I hope that I do. Thanks, Nona. And again, post a comment if you want to be part of the drawing. I'm going to do my summer stamping fun drawing. So here's my bucket. Got lots in there. Sylvie likes the snow. This one. Yeah, it's cute. Anna Southern, you are the winner tonight. So I don't even know if Anna's on tonight, but I will get her packet sent. All right, so for those of you who signed up for my Stamp Camp Saturday, the boxes all went out. You should be getting them hopefully by Saturday. Postal service here is not very consistent. I'm hoping that they got out, and you should have them by Saturday. I will be live doing the Stamp Camp. I'm looking forward to that. The weather's supposed to not be so hot here, so that would help. Yeah, I really like the green one too. Might need a bow, maybe some embellishments if you really want to go over the top, but none of these are really over the top. And if you just like did a sheet up of images and then colored them all, you would have lots of things to cut out. All right, if you don't have a question, now's the time to ask it. I'm still looking for that piece of paper because I believe it's here somewhere. I'm gonna let you all go. Thanks, Jean. Jeanne, thank you. I like them all, but partial to the plaid. Yeah, I'm always partial to the plaid. We were supposed to get wind and we didn't. We did yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, the wind came through here. I felt so bad. The people behind me have a business and they have those tents with awnings. They had 3 big tents with awnings. They had a big event there this weekend. And that wind was at half an hour. And those big, huge tents with awnings were destroyed. And these are the people who lost their building collapsed under snow a couple years ago. So they're trying to rebuild and they're trying to get back into doing events. And I just am like, could somebody just cut them some slack? They don't deserve to have another disaster. But luckily, nobody was hurt. They all stayed in the area, didn't blow and hit anybody. Diamond dust on the rainbow would be, or the snowman would be adorable. Yeah, I have some glitter, little glitter glue I could put on there. This came in a paper pumpkin last year. Yeah, it's still squishy. I'm gonna put some on there. Oh, perfect. Thanks for the tip. Alrighty, I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you very much for coming. I hope I gave you some tips tonight that you could use. I think I did. I love the shading around the images just to give them some dimension without having to pop them up and cut them out. Remember that these 2 stamp sets are on the online exclusives along with the dies, which dies might be on back order. They might be. Anyway, again, if you ordered from me with the free shipping, thank you very much. It was a great sale. I was able to send out a lot of packets of paper and cards to people, so that was kind of exciting. My daughter-in-law, and I put them all together. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Nona. My daughter-in-law and I put together packets last week, and of course I thought we're probably going to be sitting on these forever, but they're all gone. Everything went out the door, so that's good. All right, everybody, thank you. Take care and have a great night. I will be live next week. It'll be August. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out. All right, take care.